Welcome to the Unleashed podcast, where we believe that life is better when it is lived on purpose. My name is Molly Brunk, and I'm joined by lead pastor of Be Hope Church, Brad Thompson. And you have the title for today. Yes, you have the secret title.
I feel like it's been forever, first of all. Molly B, it's good to see you.
I know. It's not been forever for our listeners, but
forever for us.
So if we're a little rusty, sorry.
Yeah. Before I give you the title, I just want to say this is a podcast that we really haven't written, which is probably bad, which goes against everything I'm about to say. This is more from, I'm about ready to follow my heart and what's brewing within my soul. So title of this podcast today is Follow the Script.
Follow the script.
Follow the script.
I like it.
Yeah, do you?
I like it. Yeah, I'm excited to hear the content, but we got to start with the fumble moment.
Mm-hmm. So the other day, we had what is called a champions dinner. I know for some of you who are like, I don't know what a champions dinner is. I'm going to give you some stats that maybe you're like, wow, that's amazing. We've come to the realization at Be Hope that 100 givers out of nearly 2,000 people give 84% of our missions budget, our annual budget.
Spooky.
They provide for the mission. Now, I know some of you, especially pastors on the other end, you're like, those are terrible stats. And I'm like, yeah, we're aware of it. Yeah. But we were also with a consultant the other day who said, what this lets me know is that you're reaching First Church people, which, by the way, that's our mission. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to have a dinner for those top 100 people to say, thank you for providing for this mission of reaching First Church people. Now, here's the thing. We were casting our 5-year vision, which at the time this comes out, we'll be sharing, I think, a week or two later from now. They got a sneak peek at it. And here's what happened. I kind of had a general outline of what I wanted to say, but I did not script word for word what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. I did not create a script. And to say the least, it did not go the way I anticipated it.
You didn't like what you said? I thought it was fine.
In my brain, I talked about this. In my brain, I anticipated applause and excitement and people on their feet. And just the way I unloaded the content, it didn't lead in how I wanted it to at the end, which was into questions. And it was really like, how are we going to do that? And that was on me. And just to be honest, like part of this was figuring out how do we cast the vision ahead of time before we give it to the whole church. And so at Team Advance, which if you're not on a team at Be Hope, you should be on one and then come to Team Advance next year. I did it completely different. And I don't know about you were in for the second one. Mm-hmm. I feel like it went better, right?
Yeah, I didn't think the first one was bad, but I also didn't know your intention behind it. I didn't know what you were trying to accomplish with it.
Well, let's just say in the Team Advance one, we had dances.
Yeah.
The vision.
Brad did make us stand up and dance, and I am usually someone who participates. I don't know why. I literally did not know what to do with my body. I was like, I don't know a single dance move.
It happens. It happens.
I just froze in that moment, but people loved it. So,
but they did, and you'll get a second chance at it coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, great.
But the difference between the Team Advance and the difference between the Champions Dinner was I had literally wrote out word for word. I had scripted out what I wanted to say. And for those of you who don't know anything about messaging or sermon prep, this is what I do every week. I will write a script. I will write word for word what I want to say. And then I will practice it. My rule is 6 and it sticks. I will practice it 6 times to the point where it becomes part of my soul. And I know some people say, well, you're practiced, you're rehearsed. No. What that does is it gives me freedom in the moment to preach from the Spirit and let God speak to me when I'm on the platform because I've done the work behind the scenes. Yeah. And that's what happens when you follow a script. It's not rehearsed, but it gives you freedom in the moment to say what needs to be said, but listen to God in the process as well. And I think what happened at Champions Dinner was I didn't have a script. I didn't follow a script. And the outcome was not what I wanted at all. And I think that's what I want to talk about today is I think sometimes in our lives, in our work lives, in our faith lives, we don't follow the script. In fact, can I share some scripture with you?
Yeah.
In James chapter 1, verse 22, he says this, do not merely listen to the word and so to deceive yourselves, but do what it says. Do what it says. I like what he's saying in this moment. He's saying scripture is not a suggestion. This is a script that is handed to you to follow. And when you do it, the outcome is completely different. It gives us a script for marriage. It gives us a script for how we conduct ourselves. It gives us a script for when we make God first, the fruit that we get to see in our lives. Like he says, it's not just people who hear it, it's the people who execute it, the people who do it. And I think this is where I'm struggling is sometimes as a leader, sometimes as your boss, and this is not about you, I feel like what is being asked from me to you, not you, but our staff, is that it's a suggestion, but it's not a script. I'm going to use a phrase that Janelle used the other day, education phrase. She said, they're not implementing with fidelity.
She doesn't say that to the first graders, does she?
No, but she said, in education world, they use this phrase, implement with fidelity. I said, say more, because I don't know what you mean by that. I think I know what fidelity means in the context of marriage, but not in education. And she said, in education, we're given standards. Sometimes we are given lessons. There is literally a playbook for us to follow. And they will tell teachers, your job is to do exactly what it says. Don't deviate from the script. Don't go rogue. Do what it says, because these are the outcomes we think will come from it because you followed it. Implement with fidelity. And I think some of the struggle I find with people, especially when I was an employee, I'll just be honest. When I was an employee, I thought my boss was dumb.
That's crazy. I'm just kidding.
With the look in Molly's eye, I can tell there are days when Molly probably thinks her boss is dumb.
Not true. Not true.
And I think sometimes we take things that are given by our bosses and it's like, that's a good suggestion. That's a good idea. And I think I'm at this point where my desire is that this wouldn't be a suggestion, but that what I'm sharing with you and asking you to do is a script.
That it's something that you know what the outcome will be if it's implemented. So it's not optional. But I think a lot of people think that their bosses are dumb. Like I don't think that's like unique to your experience. I think a lot of people think that, and I think that's probably where a lot of that trust gets broken, or where they think, okay, yeah, maybe. And so that's interesting, like especially living as Christians in the world of like, how are we supposed to act and behave, and how do we show that we're different? And I think it's a sign of respect to be able to implement actually what they're saying, even if deep down you're like, I think this is a little bit silly, but
I'll let you know here's how you know if you have a dumb boss. Here's how you know if you have a dumb boss. You have a dumb boss if they don't provide you a script. And here's why I say that is a good leader sees down the road, 5 years, 10 years down the road. And so what they're asking you to do now is the script that will get you to 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years down the road. And sometimes when we're employees, like we can't see that far. If you don't know what the vision is, you can't see that far. You don't understand why you're doing it. Good leaders will tell you why, but dumb bosses will not give you a script. And sometimes a script feels like a have to, but I want to change your perspective on a script actually becomes a purpose, because it helps your company, it helps your family, it helps your faith accomplish a purpose, which is really what this podcast is about, is purpose. So let's talk about implement with fidelity. Let's talk about follow the script, because recently I asked our staff, to send out a 5-minute communication that I had videoed for our Hope teams.
Which is a lot of work for Brad Thompson. So for filming it, like that is the bane of your existence, is filming those like
I've gotten better over the years.
Short little videos and stuff. And so you're better at them, but you still dread them all the same.
Yeah, I've gotten better at it. But I wanted to make sure that we sent it to email and to our Hope teams, but I wanted to make sure that everybody in a Hope team received it. And so I asked our ministry teams to send it via GroupMe or whatever platform they used. And I said, the reason why is people are asking for more communication from us about what's happening, what's going on. But I did ask one of the people who serves on your team, hey, did you receive a 5-minute video from me via your leaders?
We're being tested.
You're being tested. And he said, oh my gosh, yes. He said, Molly and Connor, they sent the video, but then in addition to the video, I love this. You asked questions. You said there are 3 or 4 trivia questions based upon this video that you need to answer when you show up to the rally. Now, you didn't tell them this, but if they got the questions right, they got a gift card. Right?
Yeah.
Tell me, what questions did you ask?
We asked when the end of year offering was, what the date was. We asked about like the theme of it and stuff. But then some of our leaders had like really studied it. So next time we have to ask them harder questions. We were really trying to like make it easy for them because we didn't want to embarrass those who maybe didn't watch it. And so next time we'll have to ask harder questions because some of them knew like the exact number of Hope team members that are on our team. Like they knew the stats, so they had been studying it. So that was really fun. And they got a Starbucks gift card. So
I was going to ask, what was the gift card?
Yeah.
Starbucks gift card.
Starbucks gift card. So they got a $10 gift card to buy one drink. So,
but see, this is what I mean by follow the script or implement with fidelity. Is actually you took it above and beyond the script. I just asked you to send the video. You took it above and beyond and you asked questions like you were testing to make sure that they actually watched it and then rewarded it for it. But the beauty of your question was, hey, what date are we sharing the vision? It was all wrapped around like, what date is Brad sharing the 5-year vision for our staff and for our team and for our church? Which that's where we're headed. That's where we're going. And in many ways, like you're asking them to be there for it without even asking them to be there for it. And that's what I mean by implement with fidelity. Like, I know that this communication is going to help us reach more people on the date that we share it if people know that it's happening. And you were able to, in a creative and fun way, bring your team around that to rally around a 3-minute video that, quite frankly, I don't know if I'd watch it. And that's amazing. And so I think where I want to go with this is, let's talk about it from a faith and personal perspective. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you like to read?
Yeah, I do.
So when you're reading, what kind of books do you read?
Not the books that you like to read. Not educational. I like to read fiction books, like thrillers and I mean, I can make something up. I really love nonfiction.
Okay. Let's tap into the real world. Do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of podcasts do you listen to?
I listen to sermon podcasts and I listen to like pop culture ones too.
Let me ask you this question. What happens after you listen to the podcast?
Nothing. It depends on what it is. If it's like, if it's educational, then sometimes I'll send it out to my team and be like, good stuff in here. And that's pretty much as far as it goes.
I think what you're expressing is what most people experience when it comes to reading books, listening to podcasts. The phrase that is often used today that drives me nuts is consuming content. We have become content consumers, but we have not become content contributors. And I think when we talk about implementing with fidelity or following the script, the beauty about books and podcasts is you're receiving content from people who have experience.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times in the books that I read, they will ask questions, they will give challenges. At the end of it, they're like, what's the one thing you could do when you walk away?
Mm.
And here's my fear in our faith and in our lives is we consume all this content. We listen to a podcast, we read a book, but then we never do anything with it.
Mm.
We're just, oh, that's really good. But we never take one takeaway that could actually make a difference in our lives. I mean, that's why the Bible says, this is not a suggestion.
Yeah.
This is a script. Because if you do it, your life's going to be different.
Yeah.
Your life will be changed. The people around you will be changed. You'll live on purpose.
Yeah.
And so the encouragement for the purpose piece of this is a few things. I guess some questions I want to ask. What are you reading? What are you learning? And after you've heard it and received it, what do you do with it?
Mm.
Are you just hearing it? Or are you utilizing what you're receiving to then shape you to live on purpose? Are you following the script?
Yeah. Which I think is important. I think even if you start with that on sermons on the weekend, I think if you attend a church and you listen to sermons, I think a lot of times we're like, wow, that's so good. And then we leave and we're like, cool. And so it would be interesting every time the sermon is finished of like, what one thing am I going to do based off of this message? Because I think that's the hardest part when crafting a sermon is, why does this matter to people? Like, how are people actually going to change?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, they'll clap in the moment. We'll get a good response. What actual change am I going to see from this? And that's a hard part about writing sermons. And so I think that'd be a really interesting challenge at the end of every sermon that you hear of like, okay, what's the one thing that you're going to do?
And that is and you guys are so good, like a preaching team that's around me, you guys are so good at asking me on Thursdays, hey, like, good message, but what do you want them to do at the end of it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's their takeaway? Mm-hmm. What are you asking from them?
Yeah.
And really, that's the question I think I want to ask you, listener, is like, what's your takeaway? What's the one thing that will change everything from this book, this podcast, the thing you're learning? Like, if you just followed the script that was provided, how would your life be different?
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things I want us to see is that when we consume the things that are available to us, my hope is that they just wouldn't be suggestions, but they become scripts that we follow so that we can live on purpose.
Mm.
One last example. I read a book called The Intentional Father. And one of the things about The Intentional Father that was difficult was all the things that it asked us to do. It was so overwhelming. I love the book, but overwhelming. And I think some of us, the tendency when we have too much information is to be paralyzed. But the takeaway from the book is, what's the one thing you could do?
Mm-hmm.
What's the one thing you could do from this book that would change everything? And so wherever you are as a leader, whether you're a parent, whether you are becoming a parent, whether you're an employee, like, my encouragement to you is to follow the script.
Mm-hmm.
Because wherever that script came from, the leader, whoever's given it, knows the outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose and the goals will be realized because of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I have. Follow the script.
That's good. I like it. And use your gift of discernment. Like, everyone has discernment. And so sometimes people like that you listen to, maybe out of the 100 things, maybe 99 of them are not good. But I think if you have the posture of being a learner and you are discerning the content, then you can always take something away from what they said. If you're not listening to pop culture podcasts like I am, don't take away anything
reading
from
fiction books.
Brad's so disappointed. It's fine.
Kind of.
It's fine. But we're going to finish on hope or nopes. Every
That's
episode we ask Brad if there is hope or nope for these either just newsworthy things, what's going on in the world at the moment, that kind of stuff. So right now, next week, we have a couple of blockbusters coming out. So I don't know if you have any hope or nope for Wicked and Gladiator 2.
Ooh, what? I saw Wicked. Hope for that.
Yeah.
Listen, Gladiator, the first one, I would watch that every night before I went to bed in college.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so violent. Isn't it super violent?
Yeah, but it's so good.
Oh, okay. I was like, it looked kind of scary. There's like a rhinoceros in
Hope
the
for
trailer.
both.
Okay, great.
Wait, have you seen the Christmas pageant one recently?
the Christmas pageant one?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you have to see that one.
No, I have not.
I don't remember the title, but there's one in theaters now.
Is it spooky or good?
No, it's so good.
Okay. Okay.
So good. Go watch it.
Okay. The next one is the Steelers are apparently doing really well. Do you feel hope or nope for that situation?
Nope.
All right. And then the last one, that was really quick.
I'm a Bengals fan. I hate the Steelers.
Got it.
Anybody that wears Pittsburgh stuff, I'm convinced.
Is what? Is bad.
I saw somebody this week and they had a Pittsburgh shirt on, and I said, "You'll be the greeters at purgatory if you believe in that."
Oh my gosh.
Pittsburgh Steeler wearers will be the greeters at purgatory.
And this is where the gift discernment comes in.
By the way, theologically, I'm not saying that I agree with prayer. That was just alliteration is something I have to use.
Brad's
so it just
now
came.
Catholic. It's fine. And then the last one is there is this thing called de-influencers, which I feel like is going to be like right up your alley, because they'll get online and they'll say, yeah, we're this and you actually don't need this product because we tried it and it stinks, or like you don't need this in your life. All of the things that people are trying to promote and buy, they'll do the opposite.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nope for those guys.
Really? I feel like you'd be pro de-influencers.
I was just thinking in terms of like diet world, he's like, don't do that diet. Here's why it doesn't work. Like after the big fad, and it's like, whatever.
I thought you were a diet hater.
Not that I am.
Yeah.
I am that.
That's fair.
You'll have to send me one. Maybe there's hope, but right now I'm saying nope.
All right, we'll send you an example. But we're so grateful that you listen today. Make sure that you subscribe and share with everyone in your sphere of influence, and we will see you back here on the next episode.